But we do start with Proposal 1. Voters across Michigan will go to the polls on Tuesday to cast their ballots for or against the plan. Now, proponents have used TV ads and packed our mailboxes with campaign materials. Even retired U.S. Senator Carl Levin is on TV urging a yes vote on Proposal 1. Now, the plan is Governor Snyder's choice for fixing potholes and crumbling bridges. It calls for a 1% increase in the state sales tax to raise money for roads, schools, cities, and other uses. And to date, we haven't seen much of a campaign from the opponents. And there are predictions that voter turnout will be low. And that's where we begin our discussion with our My Way contributors, Nolan Finley of the Detroit News and Stephen Henderson of the Detroit Free Press. Guys, it's good to see you, but it's really great that we don't have video like that anymore. We just showed video of snow-covered roads. So I'm glad we're out of that. I'm glad we're out of that time frame. It could happen anytime. Yeah, I guess so. All right. So I think supporters for Proposal 1 are now going on a 3-day bus tour around the state. This final push is on. Nolan, do you think they're going to be able to change any minds now?
I don't know at this point it's about changing minds. It's about getting their voters out. They've identified groups that they believe support this proposal, and it's getting to the polls. They've got a rather sophisticated get out the vote drive planned, and they've dedicated a big chunk of the $10 million they've had either raised or have committed to getting people out to vote. And I think this comes down to turnout. If you get the 21% turnout that Mark Grebner, for example, predicted, this thing's going to go down 2 to 1. But, you know, the governor's folks are thinking it might be as low as 900,000 people voting. And in that case, they've got a shot of getting their folks out to the polls and squeaking this thing through. I think it's a long shot, but it's the only shot they've got. You
know, you had in the Detroit News today a very interesting breakdown of actually what all will happen and what will be triggered if there is a yes vote on Proposal 1. Do you think that people have taken the deep dive into what actually is going to happen or how this actually triggers 10 more new laws?
No, this is absolutely too confusing a bill. I mean, a good ballot proposal is support gay marriage, you don't support gay marriage. You want to raise this tax, you don't want to raise this tax. When a ballot proposal is as convoluted as this one and has as many layers as this one, people give it about 4 seconds in the ballot booth and then check no. But I mean, this is a May 5th election. Nothing else of any significance on the ballot. You've got to really be motivated to vote, to get up Tuesday morning, go to the polls, and we'll see, you know, whether it's proponents or opponents that are motivated to get out of bed.
And if a lot of people sometimes aren't even motivated in a presidential year, Stephen, what are we going to see on Tuesday?
Well, I mean, this is the lesson of modern politics too, right? You have the favored side, the favorable side, hoping for people not to show up because that's the way they think they can win. It tells you how bad the politics are broken around these sort of ballot proposal way of doing things. You know, I am worried that if it does get rejected, that people will not understand that there's not another way to do this, and not even, it's not just in the short term, but even in the long term. If you want to raise the sales tax, which is one way of trying to get this money, you have to go to the ballot. You have to have people in the state vote for it. And so this idea that it's convoluted is true, but I don't know a simpler way to get this done.
Well, the simpler way to fix this thing, and that's what they should have done in December, is raise the sales tax, or the gas tax. They have the power to raise the gas tax legislatively. It's what they should have done in December when gas was, what,
well, we were all saying that then, right?
A gallon. That's exactly what they're going to have to come back and do after this, because they keep saying there's no plan B, there's no plan B. That's bull. There's a plan B, and the plan B is to come back and find another solution, because you can't leave the roads like this.
Okay, if you say the plan B is to come back and find another solution, give me a more specific plan B. What is that next solution going to be? And do you have the legislative buy-in from this new legislature?
Who knows what you can get this legislature to do? But the most logical way to fund the roads is through a user fee. So you either substantially raise car registration fees, truck fees and what have you, or you have a simple increase in the gasoline tax, which you can do cleanly with a legislative vote. You don't have to go to the people. And we're still at very low gas prices. Now's the time to do it.
Okay, so that was my question. So you think that if there is going to be any kind of plan B, it would be coming through the legislature. It would not be another vote that the people are going to have to go to the polls
I don't think they're going to put that back. I don't think they're going to put that back in front of people if people say no this time. But the gas tax is not, I mean, it's not popular. I don't think you'd get a majority of the legislature to say that
What
that was the way
tax
they
is
wanted to do
popular?
it.
Well, no tax is popular, but what
And
is
that was the problem last year, was that they were all afraid in an election year of raising taxes, and of course half of them were leaving anyway.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They weren't gonna suffer the consequences.
Irresponsible. They shirked their duty, and so we're sitting here now. And the risk is, if it goes down 2-1, as internal polls are showing on Tuesday, if it goes down 2-1, makes it that much more difficult to convince lawmakers to raise any kind of tax. And without revenue, I don't know how you fix the roads.
Does this have any kind of reflection on Governor Snyder's leadership? He's been out in front of this. He's been on this show. He came here with a chunk of concrete. He's been going around everywhere. I saw him, I think, in fluorescent orange. I think he was filling a pothole last week. But if this goes down, what kind of reflection does that
They
have on
pulled
him?
that question. It's interesting. They pulled that question, and the legislature gets far more blame than the governor does. This issue doesn't seem to hurt his job approval or popularity rate.
He had a plan. He had an actual plan to raise the gas tax and registration fees and truck fees on the table 2 years ago. So this isn't his fault. He asked them over and over to do it a different way, and they said no. And still, he's out selling their plan. I mean, this was the legislature's idea. You don't see a lot of legislators out trying to pump this.
But this was a miscalculation on his part. I mean, he walked out of there in December thinking he could sell this, and that the argument was so logical and so compelling that he could sell it. And that's been the problem for the beginning. There's a disconnect in Michigan. Everybody agrees the roads are crappy and they need to be fixed, and it's going to take money to fix them. Nobody wants to pay for it.
Yeah.